Hey guys, welcome to CyberPlatter. This is a full course on Microsoft Sentinel. In this chapter, we will discuss Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks. Before we begin, if you have missed any previous chapters, you can find the links and the full playlist in the description box below. Let's get started. What are Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks? Notebooks are a powerful tool in Microsoft Sentinel that helps security teams analyze and investigate threats using code, data visualization, and machine learning. They allow analysts to write and run scripts for threat hunting, deep data analysis, and automation. Microsoft Sentinel stores a large amount of security data, and this data can be accessed through an API. And this API lets tools like Jupyter Notebooks and Python connect to Sentinel. This makes it easier to explore security data, find threats, and automate investigations. What are Jupyter Notebooks? Jupyter Notebooks is an open source tool that allows users to create and share documents that contain live code, visualizations, and text explanations. It supports multiple programming languages, including Python, and is widely used for data analysis, machine learning, and security investigations. If you go to jupyter.org, you can find more documentation on Jupyter Notebooks. If you scroll down, it has a Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook. It supports over 40 programming languages, including Python. And you can also provide documentation for Jupyter Notebooks here. So this is the documentation, how to use it. Now let's see when to use Jupyter Notebooks and Microsoft Sentinel. So like I said, Jupyter Notebooks offer more flexibility and advanced capabilities beyond what is available in the Microsoft Sentinel portal. First use case for Jupyter Notebooks and Sentinel is advanced data analytics. So you can perform custom threat analysis using Python-based machine learning techniques that are not available in Sentinel by default. You can detect anomalies in security logs with AI-driven models. Next use case is custom data visualizations. So you can create interactive timelines and process trees to analyze security incidents more effectively. You can build custom dashboards with unique visual elements not provided in Sentinel by default. Then the third key use case of Jupyter Notebooks is integrating external data sources. So you can correlate on-premises security data with cloud-based Sentinel logs. You can also analyze third-party threat intelligence feeds alongside Microsoft Sentinel alerts. So Microsoft Sentinel seamlessly integrates Jupyter Notebooks into the Azure portal, and this allows security analysts to query, analyze, and visualize data directly within a notebook environment. The KQL Magic Library enables KQL queries from Sentinel to run inside Jupyter Notebooks. We will see that in the demo soon. Like any other module, if I go to the Azure portal and then go to Threat Management, Notebooks, you have ready to use notebooks that are created by security experts. If you go to Templates, so some notebooks are scenario specific and can be used immediately, but others are templates demonstrating useful techniques that analysts can modify and customize for their needs. So if you go to templates, there are templates that are available. It says notebook types, investigation and hunting. You can filter it here as well. Configuration, getting started, hunting, investigation. Let's close this for now. Also, right, if you go to this github.com, Azure Sentinel Notebooks, you can import notebooks from this repository as well. So you can use Jupyter Notebook functions using browser-based interface or kernel, that is execution engine. Browser-based interface, this is where you write and run code such as Python and KQL queries, and the results including text, output, tables, and visualizations are displayed on the browser. And in the kernel execution engine, the kernel processes the code and returns results. And in Microsoft Sentinel, the kernel runs on an Azure virtual machine, that is VM. The VM can handle multiple notebooks at the same time, and if complex machine learning models are used, more powerful VM options are available. We can use Python packages as well in Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks. These are reusable libraries that help simplify coding by providing pre-written functions for various tasks. Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks rely on several popular Python packages, like for example Pandas. These are used for data processing and manipulation. There is also something called as MSTICPy. This is a security focused Python package, and Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks use MSTICPy, and this is a specialized package designed for threat hunting and security investigations, data enrichment and analysis, visualizing security data. Now we will create a Sentinel notebook. For that, it's the same location under threat management, notebooks, templates. Under this, we'll select Get Started Guide for Microsoft Sentinel ML Notebooks. So this notebook serves as a beginner's guide to using Jupyter notebooks for security investigations in Microsoft Sentinel. So it basically walks you through the fundamental steps needed to start working with Sentinel notebooks and provides references to additional documentation for advanced capabilities. So why we recommend to run this notebook first? This notebook helps you to understand the core features of Sentinel notebooks, learn how to analyze security data using pre-built notebooks, and get familiar with data visualization and threat hunting techniques. So what this notebook basically does is that it attempts to use sign-in logs data from your Microsoft Sentinel workspace. But note that real-time data is not available. It will automatically switch to sample data for demonstration purposes. And then you click Create from Template, and we get this error saying Azure Machine Learning Workspace is required. So this workspace is for providing the necessary compute resources and infrastructure to execute Jupyter notebooks. So for that, first, let's go to the search bar and search for Azure Machine Learning and select Azure Machine Learning. Click Create New Workspace for ML projects and teams. Subscription is the same. I will select the same Sentinel group, resource group name, Sentinel Notebooks Demo. Region same, it has a storage account, key vault, and there is application insights as well. So these will be newly created. If you don't want them to create new ones, you can use the already existing storage accounts or key vaults or application insights, but you need to specify them here. Next, networking. I will continue with the public one. Workspace is accessed via public endpoint, so I'll go with the same. And then next is encryption. So this says your data is encrypted by default using Microsoft managed keys. So that is great. There is also an option that you can say encrypt data using a customer managed key, but I'll stick with Microsoft managed keys for now. And it also says once the workspace is created, you cannot change the configuration. So this is good. I'll go next. I will go with the default settings here as well. Access type, storage account, credential based access. Next one is tagging. I don't need any tagging here. Next, click review and create. It is running final validation. Now the validation is passed. I'm gonna click create to create this resource, and deployment is in progress now. You can see that different resources are getting created: application insights, storage account, key vault, log analytics workspace. Now you can see that your deployment is complete. We'll go to resource, and this is how your machine learning workspace looks. Now let's go back to Sentinel, search for Sentinel workspace. Let me minimize this. Go to threat management, notebooks. In that templates, we'll select a getting started guide for Microsoft Sentinel ML notebooks. Create from template. We don't get that error message anymore saying that you need Azure Machine Learning Workspace. It's already selected the one that is available, Sentinel Notebooks demo. Now let's say save. And now creating notebook. Cloning notebook. Notebook was saved successfully. Let's launch the notebook. And then we land here, Azure AI Machine Learning Studio. Notebooks require a compute environment to run Python scripts, perform security investigations, and process large data sets. And that is why machine learning compute is needed. So if you see here, there is compute and there's automatically serverless part compute available. If you don't want to use this, you can create a new one. Let me create a new one. So click that add mark. Compute name, I'm gonna keep it as Sentinel demo. Virtual machine type, I will go with CPU. The size recommendation, virtual machine size. The recommended one is this one, memory optimized. But you can select any other one as well. I'll go with the cheaper one for now. And then say review and create. It'll ask you to review it. And then you can click create. It says compute creation is in progress. You can now see it in your list of compute. So we will have to wait for this to complete. So here you can see that Sentinel demo, the one that we created right now, is getting created. Now you see that compute Sentinel demo provisioning succeeded. It took me around 5 minutes to get this completely created, okay? So now it says that the compute is running. Now let's see what the notebook says. First, it is talking about the prerequisites, some permissions which we already have, then the contents of this notebook. What is Jupyter Notebook? We went through it, and then running code in notebooks. We'll see that in a minute. Let me minimize this so that it's easier to read. And then we initialize the notebook and MSTICPy, query data from Microsoft Sentinel. We also configure and test external data providers. We connect to VirusTotal and GeoLite too. This is only an introduction. What is a notebook? Jupyter Notebooks. We already went through it. So I'm going to skip this part. What is Jupyter Notebook? Then the next part is running code in notebooks. This part explains how Markdown and code cells work in Jupyter Notebooks, particularly in Azure ML Notebooks and VS Code. So if I scroll down, you see add code cell as well as add Markdown cell. Markdown cells, it is used for writing text, explanations, documentation, and even HTML formatting. It does not execute code but helps organize and explain notebook content. And then there is code cells that contain Python or KQL code for execution, and you can run queries, calculations, machine learning models, and visualizations. And there is a run button, that is play button here. If you want to run this code, you can just say run cell and it says congratulations. You just ran this code cell 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. You can also edit this. Suppose say I'm gonna say 2 plus 22, and also in the print statement I'll make it 22. If I run this, it says 2 plus 22 is 24. So you can modify this as well. And there are other options as well available here. You can say clear output. If I click on clear output, the output that we got is cleared. And the output, so let me run this again. Then the output 2 plus 22 is stored in this variable y now. So next, if I scroll down, so in Jupyter Notebooks, variable set within a code cell persist across other cells as well, meaning you can use and modify them throughout your notebook. So this allows you to chain cells together and build on previous computation. So this value y, the variable y, is carried on to the next cell. And if I say y plus 2, run this, it becomes 26. 24 is taken from here, 26. 26 at the bottom. Next one is initializing the notebook and MSTICPy. And the next step is initializing notebooks. So initializing the notebook and MSTICPy. So let me scroll down. For this, we will have to run this code. I'm gonna hit run. It says checking upgrade to latest MSTICPy version. And in the notes, you already see that don't be alarmed if you see configuration warnings such as missing MSTICPy config YAML. So this is completely fine if you get errors like this. So let me scroll down. It is still checking upgrade to latest MSTICPy version. It says starting AML notebook pre-checks. Azure CLI authentication recommended. Okay, we'll look into it. Notebook pre-checks complete. Once this is done, next scroll down again and see, you can see the warning could not find MSTICPy config YAML. That is fine. So after initializing notebooks, we are getting this error and the note says you may need to restart the kernel to use updated packages. So let me restart it. So if you see here at the top, there is restart kernel and run all cells. And there is interrupt kernel, then restart kernel. Let's do restart kernel. It says, do you want to restart the current kernel? All variables will be lost. That is fine. Let's restart it. I will also authenticate here because we changed the compute. It asked me to authenticate. Let me authenticate there as well. It takes me to the another window. Now it says successfully authenticated to the compute. You can now use any Azure SDK. Now we will verify Microsoft Sentinel settings. For this, scroll down and run this query. And it is giving us a lot of errors. And it says the error is here where it is printing json.dumps. If I go back, that line is here. mpconfig.settings is not a standard dictionary that can be converted to JSON. So instead, it is likely a custom object that needs to be converted before using JSON dump. So let's try doing that. So I'm gonna use this with this function, an additional one. So I'm gonna comment the previous one and let's see if that works. Let me run this. Yes, now the sample data is changed to the data that I have, that is Sentinel RG is my resource group, my subscription ID, tenant ID, workspace ID and the workspace name. So this is working well. Let's scroll down. The next one is to configure your Azure cloud. This is optional. And this needs to be done only if you're running in government cloud. So most of the times it is not true. So we will skip this section. And the next part is load a query provider for Microsoft Sentinel. So it says the query provider is the object you use to querying data from Microsoft Sentinel and make it available to view and analyze in the notebook. So for that you need to run this query. And the next part is to authenticate to the Microsoft Sentinel workspace. Let's execute this code. Now it says connected. And remember, we authenticated here before. We had this authentication label or error message or warning message and we clicked authenticate. It is exact. If you have not done that, then you'll get an error message here. We did that previously. So it says connected now. And then says test your connection using a MSTICPy built-in Microsoft Sentinel query. Let me run this. And now you see it returned results. That means the connection is working. There is nothing the query returned, no rows for this time range. That is completely fine, but it is still working. The connection is good. And the next step is to configure and test external data providers, VirusTotal and Geolite. In that, the first option is to configure Azure Key Vault to store secrets. This is an optional thing. I would recommend doing it if you're doing it in the production environment. For now, we will not. We will skip this section. And then it says configure and test VirusTotal. It also gives you a link to VirusTotal. Let's open this in a new tab. It goes to virustotal.com. And then this is a powerful threat intelligence source. So to connect this, you need a VirusTotal account and an API key. To sign up, there is another link. Let's go open that to VirusTotal and let's create an account. Oh, okay. This is just a documentation. We don't need this. Let's just go to VirusTotal homepage and then say sign up, enter your name, and then say join us. It's creating my account. I am not a robot. Signed up successfully, so let's go back. Sign in. So now I've signed up and signed in to VirusTotal. And then if you click on your profile, there is API key. This is the API key that we need later. Let's go back to notebooks now and let's run this. It is just initializing. And here select TI providers. It says loading. And then here add provider. I'm going to select VirusTotal and then add. And this is the place where you provide your API key. Let's go back to VirusTotal. Copy the API key. Go back. Add the value here. And then if you scroll down, there is update. And then say save settings. And then scroll down and run this again. And then here we go to GeoIP providers. It's loading. Let's give it a minute. Here you select GeoIP Lite. And this is the GeoLite to sign up page. You need to sign up here. Provide your name, your company name. Once you select GeoIP Lite, click add and it's loading now. You provide the API key now once you sign up and create your account in GeoLite 2. And then once that is done, it is the same thing. You'll have to run these cells and then you can test a VirusTotal lookup by running this. And this is a sample data that is run. There is an IP address that is selected. It is running and it gives you the data from VirusTotal. It's the same thing for test geolocation as well. So you get all the details here. You can also see the raw details of that IP address. And then if you scroll down, there is test IP geolocation lookup. I have not added the geolocation API key and the account details, but you can do that for GeoLite 2 as well. And you will get similar results. It will fetch the data. And that's it about Microsoft Sentinel Notebooks, guys. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share our videos. That helps us a lot. I will see you again in another chapter on Microsoft Sentinel. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.